Welcome to the Daily News Network, and today you're on a mission with Jack Sears, where we visit with area nonprofit and for-profit leaders to talk about their mission and how they're bringing that into reality. Joining us today from the World Housing Solution, Inc. is Ben-Zeev to talk about his mission. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, Ron, let's get started. Please tell us about the World Housing Solution, Inc. Who are you and what are you guys up to?
So World Housing was born around the earthquake, the time when the earthquake hit Haiti. So a little bit over 15 years ago. And the premise that we started off with was based on the impact that, natural tragedies and man-made tragedies have on refugees, right? How are people impacted? And what we saw time and again was that the traditional response was to deliver a tent, which is a 3,000, 4,000-year-old technology, right? A stick and a cloth. And so we designed, invented, engineered a composite type shelter that could be assembled, disassembled, and moved, could be disinfected, and was earthquake and hurricane resistant. And we failed miserably. That's the beginning of World Housing Solution. And so we were discovered by the U.S. Navy, of all things, who asked us a very simple question that said, that's an interesting thing that you guys have come up with. Can you make it bigger? As an entrepreneur, my answer is typically yes, followed by, wait, what was the question again? And so when we sat with the folks from the engineering side of the U.S. Navy, and they told us some of their requirements, we went to work on developing a solution that would fit the mission requirement for the U.S. Navy, particularly at that time. And that was our foray into working with the Department of Defense and the U.S. government at large, which was never on our business plan, right? Our intent was not to do that. So we pivoted in order to continue our task, our mission, without ever losing sight of where we came from.
Okay. Wow, that's outstanding. So the housing, would you call it temporary housing, or is it more than temporary housing?
So it's a great question. The shelter premise that we've developed was based on again, going back to what the U.S. military came to us ultimately, was they needed something that could be built quickly by somewhat unskilled laborers. We have a patented system, a foundation system that allows us to deploy the units above ground, therefore allowing the deployment of the units in more environments. And then they wanted the ability to then take it apart and move it multiple times if needed. So they give us a very specific requirement, which is very challenging, right? How do you make something that is strong, that is light, that can be taken apart and rebuilt time and again, and do that without failing? So that's really where our strength came in. So for the U.S. military in particular, there are several programs within the U.S. military. One obviously is for our troops. And the other one is also called the Hearts and Minds program under the U.S. military, which are programs to go out and help the community where we have bases. And so as an example, one of the first projects we did for the U.S. Navy at the time was a women's maternity, nursery, and health clinic in the very, very eastern corner of the African continent, in a place called Calaf. And that was one of our first task orders.
So fascinating. How many units are you manufacturing on average a year, do you think?
So the short answer is it depends, right?
Okay.
So we've deployed dozens of units over the decade plus or 15 years that we've been in business, and we've iterated along the way on in order to be able to address the requirements, right? It's the old adage, if you're walking around with a hammer, everything you see looks like a nail. So we had to change the approach that we did in order to meet the mission requirement that our customer, in this case the U.S. military, came up with. So dozens of units have been manufactured on a yearly basis, deployed to everywhere from the South Pacific to the U.S., Caribbean, all over the African continent, all over the European continent. So we've been very, very blessed and fortunate to do that. And we've also been blessed to be able to take those lessons learned and turn them into, how do we continue our premise, our mission? We want to do well so we can do good. Right? That's really the premise. It's still called World Housing Solution. It's not called cool military stuff. So our intent is still, focused on how can we help the community, both local community and the community at large, throughout the U.S. and around the world, on now taking the great lessons we have learned by serving and working with our troops, which we still do, and bring that to fruition in as part of our DNA.
What a niche, unique, and different mission that is being met, and I applaud you for that. What a fascinating concept. So, Ron, I'm sure there's a lot more to your business and your organization, and others may want to learn more. How would they connect with you? How would they connect with World Housing Solution, Inc. to learn more about what you're doing?
So thank you for the question. Probably the best way to do that would be through the website. And again, when they go to type the URL, the name of the website, make sure to not add an S at the end of solution. It's called World Housing Solution, singular.com. And right there, they'll find both a phone number and an email address. And if people have questions or ideas on how they can get involved or be a part of what we do, we'd love to hear from them.
Excellent. Great. Well, listen, thanks for taking the time to join us, and thanks for bringing your mission into reality. And hopefully what we've done here this morning will help accomplish that. So, all right.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it, folks. That's the time we have here today at the Daily News Network, where you've been on a mission with Jack Sears, and hopefully you've learned something new. Maybe you'd like to learn more. Be sure to check out then this interview and a host of other things that are happening at thedailynewsnetwork.com. Until we get together next time, here's wishing you good health, much happiness, and remember, treat each other the way you'd like to be treated.